So today, we're going to dive into something pretty fundamental, a flaw that's literally baked into the DNA of analog sound. You know, the sound we all grew up with on vinyl records and cassette tapes. I mean, we've all heard it, right? You put in an old mixtape, and hiding just underneath the music is that constant shh sound. Well, that hiss isn't just your tape getting old. Nope. It's actually a symptom of a much, much deeper problem, a kind of ghost in the machine that's part of the very fabric of how that sound was recorded in the first place. Okay, so to really get why there's a problem, we first have to appreciate just how beautiful the idea is. Let's start with the hero of our story, the analog signal itself. In a perfect world, it's supposed to be a perfect mirror of sound. So here's how it works. When you make a sound, any sound, it creates these waves of pressure in the air. Analog recording's whole job is to translate those exact waves into a continuous flowing electrical signal. Think of it as a one-to-one copy, like an electrical shadow that perfectly follows the shape of the original sound. You know, here's a good way to picture it. Imagine an artist sketching a landscape, and they capture every single curve of the mountains, every line, with absolute, flawless accuracy. That's the dream of an analog signal, to be a perfect, unbroken drawing of that sound wave. But as you can probably guess, that perfect drawing almost never stays perfect. Every good story needs a villain, and in this one, the villain is an unwanted guest that we just call noise. So you have this pristine electrical signal, this perfect mirror of the music. But, and this is a huge but, there's a fatal vulnerability. And this is the absolute core of the problem. The system is, well, it's just too trusting. It has no built-in way to judge what's supposed to be there and what isn't. Any electrical wave that shows up for any reason gets treated as a legit part of the recording. So what does that actually mean? Will that tiny electrical hum from a cheap cable? Or that magnetic hiss from the tape itself? The analog system doesn't see that as a mistake. It just sees it as more sound, and it happily mixes it right in with the guitars, the drums, and the singer's voice. And this puts the system in an impossible position. It's looking at this messy, mixed-up signal, and it has absolutely no tools to sort it out. It literally can't tell the original work of art from an accidental smudge on the page. So, here you can see the tale of two signals. On the left, you've got the dream, the pure, original signal, our perfect drawing. But over on the right, that's the reality, the contaminated signal. It's the original music plus all that extra noise and distortion that got tangled up with it along the way. It seems like a pretty fair question, doesn't it? I mean, if the noise got added to the signal, shouldn't the system be able to just, I don't know, remove it, clean it all up? And there it is. That's the brutal, simple answer. It can't. Once that noise gets mixed in, it becomes completely indistinguishable from the music. As far as the tape deck is concerned, the hiss from the tape is just as valid a sound as the singer's voice. They are now one and the same. And that, unfortunately, brings us to the final, unavoidable conclusion. For our poor analog signal, we've officially reached the point of no return. So once that unwanted guest, that hiss, that hum, has crashed the party and has completely mixed in with the real music, the damage is irretrievable. You can't unsmudge the drawing. You can't unscramble an egg. That noise is now a permanent, inseparable part of the recording, woven into the very fabric of the music forever. Which really leaves us with a huge question to chew on. If this really elegant, direct way of recording is so fundamentally flawed, and the damage is permanent, how can we ever hope to capture a truly perfect, clean copy of sound? What kind of system would it even take to finally be able to tell the difference between the music and the noise?